So I'm gonna read Dragons fanfic. Apparently it's fanfic, but with some original characters added in. So yeah, again, a story borrowed from Dragon Warrior 524 called A Forbidden and Forgotten Romance. I will link it in the description. Please enjoy listening in. This appears to be like a little summary or foreword. It says, you are a teen celeb around the world for being an amazing violinist. You move away from the United States to try and find some new inspiration and erase the dark past, the loss of your parents. You move to Paris to hopefully be inspired by its miraculous beauty and culture. You step out of the plane and take a deep breath and are ready to start a new life. Or are you really starting a new life? Are you really the person that you tell the world? So this is the prologue to Dragon Warrior's Forbidden Romance story. You arrive into Paris from America at around 9 in the morning on a private plane sent by the government. Taking in a deep breath, you are going to start a new life and leave behind your tragic past of losing your parents. You come to Paris to continue your journey of being a world-renowned violinist by finding a better inspiration, one that will help uplift yourself and influence people to see the brighter things. Now you may be wondering why it is that the American government is sending you to Paris on a private jet. Do you believe that you are the person the world sees you as? Well, at the young age of 5, you were abandoned out on the streets and left to survive on your own. You wandered between buildings of the city you were in, trying to scavenge and beg for food. After weeks of wandering around, you were stumbling around the outskirts of the city and came upon a wired fence. As you hear the howls and growls of the creature of the night, you attempt to climb the wired fence. Due to your small stature, you were able to slip between the empty space and the barbed wire placed at the top of the fence. In the distance, you see an illuminated dot and can only be attracted to it as it was the only thing you can see under the starry night. As you get closer, you observe and notice the rectangular structures, shining as lights from towers, shower upon the area to prevent any darkness. As you try to continue to use the darkness as cover, your stomach growls, a storm, as you have not been able to find food for almost 3 days. Holding your stomach to try and mute the growling, a smell wafts through the air and begins to slip into your nose. Luring you with its fascinating and delicious aroma, you use your nose and follow the aromatic trail leading you to an open window. You peered through, seeing no one except the mounds of rations and produces. You figured that the smell came from the metal containers on top of the burning blue flames. Climbing into the window, you grab whatever you can and bite into it. A euphoric feeling rushes through you as you finally have food after 3 days that aren't just measly leftovers and rotting morsels of food. Scarfing down the food left your mouth and throat dry, you begin to fish for a cup and fill it with the faucet. As you continue to devour anything in sight, your ears begin to twitch as you hear chattering coming toward the room you were in. You pause and begin to look for something to defend with and grab the silver knife at the edge of the counter. You hide in the ration closet, trying not to make any noise and have them discover you. "Damn, Sarge was on my ass today," said one of the soldiers. "Cadet Jones, if you don't get up that wall faster, you will be shot by the enemy." "Cadet Jones, you need to crawl faster. You're holding back the men behind you. Cadet Jones! Cadet Jones!" the soldier exclaims, trying to mimic what the sergeant sounds like. "I know exactly what you mean, Aaron. However, you do know he's only doing this to prepare us for when the time comes and a war erupts, right? Yes, it's his job to train us to be able to protect our country, but I like to think that he himself has the best interest in mind of us trying to get back to our families in a safe return," said the second soldier. Yeah, whatever you say, Cooper. You're always the optimistic one, huh?" "I guess, but now that the day is over, let's get something in our bellies and call it a night." "You read my mind." The two men grabbed themselves a bowl of soup and utensils and set them down on the nearby long tables. "Hang on," Cooper says. "I'm gonna grab some bread. Would you like some?" "Sure, that would be great, thanks." Cooper begins to head toward the ration closet as he saw there was none left on the kitchen counter. He flips on the light and flinches as he sees you hiding behind the boxes on a metal wire shelf. "Oh, hello there. Are you alright?" "Hey Coop, who are you talking to in there?" As Cooper is still looking at you, you point the knife at him. "It's okay, I'm not here to hurt you. Funny thing is, I was trying to grab some bread, and it's right over there behind you." Cooper turns his head slightly to try and communicate with Aaron better. I got a kid back here. Seems like he has been wandering outside for days. Looks to be only 5 or 6 years of age." "Shit," Aaron mutters under his breath. He gets up and walks toward the doorway of the closet and slowly comes into view. "Damn, what is a kid like him doing all the way out here? We need to get him to Sarge." Aaron enters through the doorway and walks toward you. He tries to reach toward you. Aaron, stop! He's got a... You slash Aaron in the upper arm, releasing the Crimson River, which bleeds through his uniform and creates an ever-growing dark puddle. Oh, fuck, that hurt! He attempts to grab you again, and you begin to slash at him again. He catches your arm and rips the knife from your hand. Okay, I got him! Cooper, grab his legs! I'm gonna get his other arm. You try to slip your arm out of his grip, but can't manage it under the iron-like hold. You then try balling your hands into fists and try to bash into them and kick them with whatever strength that you have. Damn, he is quite the fella, isn't he? Well, if I was in his place and two giant-like men were trying to grab me, I would probably be doing the same thing. Cooper trying not to get punched or kicked, but also trying to grab your ankles. As both the men have you in their hold and prevent any offensive movement, you begin to yell, scream, and jostle around as much as you can to try and escape their grips. A meek help comes out of you as you are winded from trying to escape and the long journey it took for you to get to this place. The two men carry you out and across the pathways under the immense white light. They arrive at another rectangular structure with a door labeled Sergeant Mills. Sergeant Mills! Sergeant Mills! Aaron calls. Footsteps behind the door can be heard. What is it, Kidda Jones? Also, you do know that you're slacking behind on your climbs, right? Yes, sir, I do know. However, that is not what we came here for. We found something interesting in the ration closet. He moves to the side, revealing you held between Aaron and Cooper. Oh my goodness, bring him into my office now! Sergeant Mills declaring with a stern tone. Both the men walk in, and before Sergeant Mills closed his door, he peered side to side to see if anyone could have seen what was happening. There's a rope in the closet next to that chair. One of you hold the boy to the chair, while the other grabs the rope and ties him to it. Yes, sir, Aaron and Cooper say in unison. As both Aaron and Cooper explain to Sergeant Mills how they came to discover you, you try to break free of your tight bond and try to move and escape from the chair. While Aaron is bandaging his arm, he stares at you to make sure you don't escape. How marvelous! Exclaimed by Sergeant Mills with intrigue. It's truly amazing how he was able to survive this long out there and away from the city. I'm not sure what we can do with him. Is there someone we can call to place him in a suitable location? Cooper questions. I'm not sure there is after having him attack Cadet Jones like that. I think I need to contact the general about this. Sergeant Mills looks at the time. I think there's still some time. He reaches over his phone and presses the button, which makes a slight beeping noise. He holds the phone, and after about 30 seconds... Hello, sir. Yes, sir. This is Sergeant Mills at Base 42. Yes, I am sorry to call you at this hour, but I do have some urgent news. A boy at the age of about 5 or 6 has somehow snuck into the base. It seems that he has been wandering the outside for days, judging by his dirt-covered tattered clothes and how thin he is. It seems like he may be an orphan of some sort. He has slashed one of my cadets in the upper arm. Yes, it seems he is quite the fighter. I do not think we can return him to the city after such a violent attack. That is why I asked for your orders. The sergeant goes quiet as both the cadets try to listen into what the general may be saying. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The sergeant's eyes widen, his eyebrows lifted, and his mouth left slightly open. Wait, sir, are you sure about that? Are we even allowed to do that to someone of his age? Small beads of sweat forming on his forehead. The two cadets look in confusion as to what may make their sergeant begin to perspire. Yes, sir, I shall put him into it at the start of the morning. Good night, sir. Sergeant Mills puts the phone back on the receiver and slumps into his chair. Sir, are you alright? What did the general say that has put you in this kind of dilemma? Cooper asks. The general wants me to place the boy into Program X. Both the cadets look at each other with wide eyes. Cooper placing a hand on his mouth and looking back at you. Aaron sitting on an empty chair, his hands in his hair, and his elbows on his legs. The kid has attacked me, but we can't stick him into that program. Not even the strongest men here can handle that rigor. What makes the general think the kid can go through this? Aaron exclaims, looking up with his hands still in his hair. I have no idea, and there's nothing I can do. It's the general's orders. After this, he is going to be a soldier. No, not a soldier, a weapon. Alright guys, that was the end of the prologue. And then we have Chapter 1, titled A Miraculous Mission. 9 years later. I was sitting on the plane, staring outward through the window. I watched the cotton-like clouds stretch as if it was endless, but it was peaceful. It reminded me of being with my 3 uncles. I look at the picture they gave me as my birthday, the day they found me. Present. It was all 3 of them. Uncle Aaron on the left with his flamey red hair and holding out a peace sign. Uncle Paddy still wearing his sergeant's hat and putting on his biggest closed-eye smile, and none other than Uncle Coop in the middle, giving his warmest smile with his arms around the other two. Touching Uncle Coop's face on the photo, I wish you three were here with me so that I wouldn't be alone. I start to tear up as I miss the hugs they would give me each night. I was still at the base. I feel the plane start to lower in altitude and hear a beep of the intercom in the jet. We shall be arriving at the Charles de Gaulle Airport in 20 minutes. Please fasten your seatbelts if you have not done so yet, and enjoy the beautiful city of love, Paris. The intercom beeps again, and I click the two seatbelt pieces together. I look at the time on my phone as it read 8:40, and knew I would be arriving perfectly at 9. I look out the window again, and watch as we descend through the clouds and begin to see my temporarily new home. The people below look like scurrying ants, and the Eiffel Tower, catching some rays of sunshine, shine against my eyes. Maybe Paris won't be so bad. As we start to land, I brace for the bumps from the landing clear, trying to make contact with the ground and think back to what the general said. Small flashback. I was swinging from ropes attached to the ceiling of the building I was housed in, aiming the bow and arrow and nailing each shot at the targets. I then bent backwards till I was hanging upside down and practiced a few more shots. X! I look over to see the general standing at the entrance to my room. I give one last good swing and thrust myself into the air. While doing a front flip in the arrow, I released 3 consecutive shots that hit each other at the targets. Once I landed, I looked to see as the third arrow had split into the other 2 arrows. I stand back up and turn to the general, saluting him. At ease. I placed my hand to my sides and stared at him. You're going to be sent on a long-term mission to Paris. It seems that recently there have been supervillain attacks, with 2 superheroes coming to the rescue. Your task is to find out how they got their powers, and procure them for us to use. You will go under the alias of YFNYLN, a world-renowned violin prodigy whose parents have passed away. You move to Paris to find new inspirations. Your apartment will have a secret entrance in the closet to lead you to the equipment room, where you will find all the necessities for surveillance and any lethal encounter. You will be attending College François Dupont, as this seems where the attacks are usually coming from. The apartment is only a block away, and will only be occupied by you. Your plane leaves 16:30. I know you will succeed in learning about them. Side note, those are places where you as a reader place in whatever name you want. Oh, that's what it is. You will go under the alias of... Okay, and I pick first name, last name? Okay. So you will go under the alias of Azure Cloud. I guess that's how it's gonna be. Alright guys, end the flashback. As I was still bracing for the rough landing, I only felt a smooth transition. I guess when you work for the government, you get the best of the best. As the plane halts, I grab my backpack and am waved goodbye by the stewardesses, the captain, and the co-pilot. I walk through the terminal only to be greeted by flashing cameras and screaming girls. Damn, they had to make me be a famous violin player. Whatever, it'll make my job of getting to know people more easy. I give a closed-eyed smile and wave to all the flashing cameras and the girls. I watch as the security in the airport trying to make a path for me to reach the baggage claim. I continue waving and stop a few times, signing autographs of me and allowing them to have selfies. I could hear girls screaming, "Oh my goodness, he's so cute! I wish I could be his girlfriend! Senpai, please notice me!" and some vulgar comments. I watched as a group of girls were trying to wake their friend after she fainted and was having a nosebleed at the same time. Thank goodness for all the languages I learned in the program, but I was told I needed to act like I was not fluent in the language, so I just kept smiling and continued my walk to pick up the rest of my luggage. Dragon, I almost laughed in the middle of the reading, but I wanted to keep my pace. I like how you put "Senpai, please notice me," even though this is Paris. So it's not just any girls that came out to greet the famous violinist, but it's Parisian weebs, apparently. Dang. I was wondering what type of girls would, like, run to an airport or whatever just to see a violinist. And now I know. It would be weebs, of course. I should have known all along, guys. The weebs are unstoppable. They thought it was a meet and greet handshake event. Alright, let's continue. After I got my luggage, I entered an awaiting limo to take me to my apartment. On the ride over, I watched as people were smiling, chatting, and relaxing. I observed all the little stores and took note of cafes and bakeries. As I arrived at the apartment, I noticed it was located across from a bakery. In gold lettering against a black background, it read, Tom and Sabine, Boulangerie, Pâtissière. This is a cute shop. I think I'm gonna stop by it after I place my luggage in my room. Both me and the driver carried my suitcases to the room, and after the last one was placed down, I thanked him, and with that, he left. I grabbed the keys from my pocket and unlocked the door, turning the knob and pushing it open slowly. I stare in awe as the room was almost white, with the subtle hue of blue. I roll all the suitcases past the door and close it behind me. I turn to see a beautiful kitchen with all the top modern appliances that felt like it was built for a mansion. I opened the fridge and pantry to see that it was fully stocked and with all of my favorite foods and ingredients to make them. I look into the bathroom to see a pristine toilet and a shower with a shower head that is attached to the ceiling to imitate rainfall. I observed the area to see that everything was spotless and the drawers had a first aid kit, cleaning supplies and toiletries. Walking over to the living room, I spot the giant OLED TV with a TV stand full of movies and games. I sit on the sofa and I'm met with the softest fabric I've ever felt. I felt like I could almost fall asleep while sitting on it. I get up before I could doze off and enter my bedroom to be greeted by a king-size bed with blue silk sheets and another OLED TV with more movies and games. I open the door to my personal bathroom to see a shower with the same head as before, but on the 3 walls had jets that stuck out. I look at my toilet to find out that it was one of those electronic ones in Japan, the luxuries of being a weapon of the government. I open the door to a walk-in closet that has been partially filled with clothes and ranged from sleepwear and casual to tuxedos and tailcoats. I head all the way in and press my hand against the wall. A glow appears with a line of light scanning up my hand. Once finished, the wall lifts up and I walk into a dark room. As I step inside, the lights automatically illuminate to a room full of weapons from swords, axes, daggers, and knives to pistols, submachine guns, shotguns, and snipers. I walk further in to find a section of surveillance equipment and gadgets to help me get out of a tight situation. All the way in the back, there was an elevator to which I enter and press the button to go down. Once I reached the destination, I noticed it was a training room with a surveillance room on the right side. Wonderful! I can continue to perfect my techniques and build more endurance. I head back up to unpack my luggage. Once I finished unpacking, it was a little past 4:30. I decided to explore the area a bit more and go to the bakery across the street. I grabbed my backpack before leaving my apartment. I crossed the street and looked at the black tinted windows with gold lettering. Walking towards the door, I push it open and a bell rings. A tall, large man was kneading dough turned his head towards me, speaking in French. Ah, hello, and welcome to my bakery. My name is Tom. I haven't seen you before. Are you new here in Paris? Since I had to act like I didn't know how to speak or understand French, all I could do was utter, with my eyes widened and my mouth hung slightly open. He looked at me a bit confused, but soon there were loud footsteps, running down the stairs as a girl with blue eyeballs and black hair with a blue shine to it, almost like a midnight blue, wearing a gray blazer with rolled up sleeves, a white shirt with a pink and black flower design on the corner, rolled up pink jeans and pink ballet flats. Her eyes widened and she was heaving after running down the stairs. Are you really the Azure Cloud, the violin prodigy? She questioned in English quickly. I stood there kind of stunned by her quickness and heaving. Yeah, hi. I give a small wave and walked over to her and placing a hand on her shoulder. Are you alright? She looks up at me, her face red from running and possibly blushing a bit. She straightens all the way up and starts waving her hands all over the place. She then scratches the side of her head. Yeah, I'm totally fine, so don't worry about me. Thank me for worrying about you. Thank you for worrying about you. No. She took in a deep breath. Thank you for worrying about me. She gave a nervous smile. It's no problem at all. Oh, I never got your name. Oh, my name? It's Marinette. Marinette Dupain Cheng. It's very nice to meet you, Marinette. I held out my hand for a handshake. As she shook my hand, I could see her grow redder and start to slightly shake. I couldn't help but let out a small giggle. She turns to her and speaks to him in French. Oh, Papa, sorry. I didn't know Azure Cloud would be coming here. He's a famous violinist that's known basically everywhere. However, he doesn't really know very much French or how to speak it. Mr. Dupain nodded and responded back in French. Oh, okay, I see. I should have known when he looked so nervous and puzzled at what I was saying. He chuckles a bit before turning back to me and said in English, Sorry about that, Mr. Azure Cloud. I didn't know that you couldn't understand French very well. What I said before was welcome to my bakery. My name is Tom. and asked if you were new here. I rub the back of my head and respond, "That's alright. And please, just call me Azure. Thank you for the welcome, and it's very nice to meet you, Tom." "You're welcome. If you need anything, just let me or Marinette know." He smiles after finishing the sentence. I smile back. As both me and Marinette released our hands from each other, I looked at the abundance of pastries. I have no idea what to try. I turn to Marinette. "Hey Marinette, I've never had any of these types of pastries before. What do you recommend?" Her eyes widened and spit out the water she was drinking. She began coughing. "Are you serious? You've never tried any of these before?" She moved her hands all around to gesture the whole bakery. I shook my head no. "Oh my goodness, we need to change that immediately." She grabbed a bag and placed 3 croissants in it and gave me a box that held a dozen macarons. She took out a croissant and placed it in my face. "Here, try this now!" "Okay." I took it from her hands and took a bite of the flaky pastry. It was unlike anything I've had before. It was nice and buttery and still a bit warm from coming out of the oven. The flaky texture was unreal. Where has this been my entire life? "Marinette, this is amazing!" "I know, right? Our bakery is one of the best in all of Paris," Marinette exclaims and smiles. "Wow, I'm so glad I live across the street. I'm gonna come visit basically every day if that's alright." Yes, you're always welcome." "Wonderful. Oh, by the way, Marinette, do you happen to go to Collège François Dupont?" "I do." "Great, I guess I have my first friend. That is, I hope you'll be my first friend," I say, smiling shyly. "Oh my goodness, yes, of course, I'd be honored to be your friend." I couldn't help but pull her into a hug. "Thank you very much, Marinette." I feel her hug me back. You're welcome, Azure," she stutters. We pull away from the hug and I place the money on the counter. No matter how much both Marinette and Tom insisted that I didn't need to pay, I waved goodbye to Marinette. "Bye, Marinette. Bye, Tom. Thank you for the amazing pastries, and I hope to visit again soon." As I was walking out of the bakery, I hear Marinette yell, "Happy 14th birthday, Azure Cloud!" I look back at her and give a closed-eye smile. I walk toward the park and sit down on the bench. I take out a few macarons and eat them while feeling the slight breeze on my face. This is a nice welcome to a new country. I jump up as I hear screams coming from all the streets. I look all around, seeing as adults are being trapped in bubbles. I see a colorful figure with a giant bubble wand laughing away. I look back to the bakery and see Tom and a woman that looks like an older version of Marinette floating away in a green bubble. Damn it! It must be one of those villains that the general was saying in the debriefing. I place the box and bag of pastries into my backpack as fast as I could. I look over again to see an elderly man wearing a red Hawaiian shirt with white hibiscus flowers, holding a cane and trying to get away from a floating bubble. I race over with my inhuman speed and place him on my back. I take him to an alleyway and wade out the bubbles. I turn to him. "Sir, are you alright?" "I am now, thanks to you," he says with a smile of gratitude. "Oh, it's no problem. Where's your home? Maybe I can take you there so that you're safe." He explains to me the directions and I nod. I check one more time for bubbles and then I book it to his home. Once we got there, I made sure he entered his home before I left. I went back onto the streets. I look around and watch as people were scattered everywhere. "Azure Cloud, we need to transform to get Dauku Matais, the gentleman that is forcing all the adults into bubbles." "My Kwame, Arathor," says in my mind. "I can't right now, Arathor. There's too many people for me to transform, and there's people in the alleyways as well. I think I'm gonna have to do this with my own being." "Okay, stay safe and remember, you can still use my powers without having to fully transform." I know. With that, I ran to a ladder of a fire escape and climbed it to the roof of the building. I take out a piece of the black cloth from my backpack and tie it around the lower half of my face. I take out my 5.7 and run across the rooftops looking for the colorful figure again. I hear loud music playing and begin to go investigate. I reach the rooftop of a fenced mansion and slowly walk to the front to see the colorful figure DJing a party. I hear the figure threatening the teens to dance, or else they'll float with the adults in bubbles of their own. I have a clean shot. I place my backpack down and open a secret compartment in the back. I take out a few metal pieces and begin assembling my air rifle. I take out a tranquilizer dart and load it into the rifle. I begin to aim it right at his neck. I have a clean shot while he is being distracted, DJing the party. I take in a deep breath, and as I am about to pull the trigger, a red blur swoops in and stops the party. Damn it, I had the shot! "Sorry, Bubbler, but the party's over," said the girl wearing a red suit with black polka dots, wielding a yo-yo. Her voice, that's Marinette's voice. One hero down, one to go. "Why you gotta be like that?" the colorful figure known as Bubbler questioned. "You made all the adults disappear, that's why. And now you're imprisoning anyone who isn't having fun," Marinette said. I notice a blonde boy runs into the mansion, then I turn back to the conversation. "You will not bust up my party," Bubbler yells. taking out his bubble wand to send 2 bubbles hurling toward, but she deflects them with her yo-yo. They continue to fight as Bubbler sent more bubbles to try and capture Marinette. As she tried to deflect one of them, the yo-yo bounces back and is about to hit her. Another blur swoops in and hits the yo-yo into the air. He was clad in a dark gray, almost black leather suit with a golden bell around his neck, a belt tail, and 2 ears atop his golden blonde hair. This must be the same guy that ran into the mansion. I watch as the blonde boy and Marinette fight against Bubbler. However, Bubbler creates a swarm of bubbles that surrounds them both and encloses them into one giant bubble. They are then sent up into the atmosphere. Crap! I continue watching them and looking back at Bubbler as he is trying to get the party started again. I watch as the 2 heroes pop the bubble and begin to fall through the air. They soon make it to the top of the fence gate. As Marinette was walking to Bubbler, I took this as my chance to fire. I aimed for his neck again, and without hesitation I pulled the trigger. The dart silently shoots out and embeds into his neck, releasing the sedative. Bubbler stumbles around before falling to the ground asleep. Marinette and the blonde boy jump down to him. They break his bubble wand, releasing the Akuma. Marinette de-evilizes the Akuma, and she uses her lucky charm, but immediately throws it back into the air to reverse the damage that has been done, sending the adults back to where they're supposed to be. The colorful figure now turns into a tan-skinned boy with black-rimmed glasses, a red cap, a pair of headphones around his neck, a blue shirt with an eye on it, some jeans, and red shoes. I turn around, begin to head off onto another rooftop, but my ears twitch hearing a male's voice. My lady, I think I know where the shot came from. I think someone is on the roof. I begin to sprint off the roof and jump across to another rooftop. I hide behind a wall with smoke pipes on the top. I peered over the side and see both Marinette and the black-clad blonde searching around. They split away and I slowly begin to walk away, but I feel something on my ankle. Alright, this is Ladybug, Marinette's point of view. I pull my yo-yo after I wrapped it around the masked figure's ankle. He begins to fall face forward, but curls forward and rolls. He immediately stood up, and I release my yo-yo and this time wrap it around his body. I heard footsteps around approaching from behind me. Looks like you caught him, Bugaboo, Cat Noir says, smirking at me. Not right now, Cat Noir. We don't have time to do this, I exclaim. Oh, come on, my lady. We'd make a great couple. He smiles as I roll my eyes. I turn towards the figure. Who are you and why did you help us? I got no response, and his face was still emotionless. I grew a bit irritated and tightened the yo-yo around him. He did not flinch at all. Who is this guy? I'm not going to say this 3rd time. Who are you? Cat Noir / Adrien's point of view. I've never seen Ladybug this angered and irritated. It's like she was a different person. I turned toward the figure and looked into his eyes, his shining green eyes. They're very mesmerizing. I placed a hand on Ladybug's shoulder. Ladybug, I think we should let him go. He didn't try to hurt us at all. Are you serious, Cat? We don't know what his intentions are. He could be working for a hawk moth, for all we know, she exclaimed, furrowing her eyebrows and gritting her teeth. I sigh. Why won't Ladybug just do something, I say for once. I turned back to him and watched him drop something to the ground, and before long, smoke is clouding my vision. When it cleared, he was gone. I twitched my ears to try and hear any footsteps or sounds he might make, but I hear nothing. He was really good for someone who didn't have a Miraculous. Me and Ladybug debate whether or not to try and find him later on, but the debate quickly ended as our Miraculouses were beeping to let us know that we were de-transforming. We both nod and swing away. I jump back around toward my room and I land inside and de-transform. Plague comes out of my ring and lands on my palm. I'm tired, Adrien. Where's my camembert? I take out a wedge of camembert and hand it to him. Here, Plague. I still can't believe you like this stuff. He swallows the whole thing. You will never understand true beauty, kid. He then lays in my palm. I giggle before placing him on a pillow on my bed. I then lay down onto the bed and think about those green orbs that sparkled in the sun. And we're back to the main character's point of view. As I jumped onto my balcony, I entered the balcony door and disassembled my air rifle and placed it back in the hidden compartment. I take off the strip of black cloth and place it back into my backpack. I take out my macarons and croissants and leave them in the kitchen. As I get my pajamas to wear after I shower, I notice a small dark brown hexagonal box with a red Chinese art on top. I open it to see a beaded choker and bright light flies out. A little figure similar to Arathor's physical form comes out, except this one had a tail and horns like a dragon. Greetings, young man, and good day to you. Fear not, I am Long, I place my finger against Long's mouth, preventing him from finishing. Long, I already know what you are, and I cannot accept you. I pull my finger back. Why not? Master Fu has chosen you to be the holder of the Dragon Miraculous, he exclaimed. I can't accept because it would be dangerous to have two Miraculouses. What do you mean? Arathor, I need you to come out in your physical form. I don't think he senses your presence. Alright. Arathor comes out of my chest as a brighter light before materializing into a featureless Kwame with white eyes that had blue flames on the edges. A blue flame on top of his head and a blue flame coming off his back. Long is wide-eyed and immediately bows. I'm sorry for not noticing you were here, Lord Arathor. I do not know how long it has been since we've seen each other. Millennia, my friend. It's been millennia since we were all together. And please, we are friends. There is no need for titles, Arathor says, hugging his friend. As you can see, Long, I cannot be your holder, since I already have one. I cannot risk taking on more power than I already have. It's alright, Azure. I'm sure Master Fu will understand. We can meet him tomorrow at his home. It sounds like a plan. I'm happy you could be reunited with a friend. Me too, Long says, smiling and beginning to chat with Arathor of what he may have missed being gone for so long. I smile as I watch Arathor's expression through his eyes, but also feeling his emotions in my heart. I then went to shower and got ready for bed to wake up for my first day of school. And that is the end of Chapter 1.